Welcome back. 2 years down the line, just 29th of May, 2025, marked 2 years, actually, of the Tinubu administration. So we've been doing an assessment of how well or otherwise he's done as the president of Nigeria, given some of his policies across board. We've been joined on the program by Andrew Memedu, country director of ActionAid Nigeria. He joins us virtually from the nation's capital, Abuja. Mr. Memedu, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
So from your organizational point of view and perhaps personal point of view, when you look at 2 years of the administration, what strikes you the most as to what the government has done right, as well as what you're concerned about that is doing that may not go well with Nigerians? I just want to give you a blanket for you to paint on.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. First of all, if you look at the President's Renewed Hope agenda, it encompasses what should bring hope, aspiration, and good things to Nigeria. So it focuses on the economy, it focuses on issues of national security, it focuses on infrastructure and overall development. So in a broad sense, if you look at it, it's a renewed hope agenda. It's all the good things. It's in a way an interpretation of what the Constitution says, which are the two primary responsibilities of government. The first one is protection of lives and property, and the welfare of the citizens. So it's a good plan, good focus, and the government, of course, hit the ground running. The first day, the president made an announcement, so subsidies gone, unification of the exchange rates, trying to unify the exchange rates. So a couple of policy pronouncements. So we saw a difference in style of governance. We cannot say that in the last 2 years, so from the day the president took over office, we cannot say that we don't have a president that is not present, that is not responding, that is not responsive. But the question is, how deep and how solution-based are these issues that have been put on the table? So from the first subsidy removal, we then saw, I think we saw that we were not ready for it. So we just made, the president made that statement, but we're not prepared for it. It took the nation till today. The country has not recovered from it. And the CNG gas that was promised has still not been fully implemented. It's just in piecemeal. The exchange rate regime, the policy that was tried to be harmonized, it has still not yielded the desired results, because between then and now, exchange rates, yes, it has narrowed the gap between the official rates and the what we call the black market rate. So it has narrowed that gap. Definitely, we've seen that happen. We have seen that the costs in terms of loans and operations, as in some ways, we've been able to save some money that we put into subsidy. However, some of these have been reflected at the macro level. Some states have gotten up to 300% increase in their allocation, in their monthly allocation, which is great. So that is macro. We have seen that the amount we use, or we normally go to take to be able to use for governance and all that has been able to reduce it. Because those are macro level. But if you look at the micro level, which is where ActionAid comes in, so ActionAid works in 36 states of the country. We have our reach. We have over 700 partners, local partners, NGOs that we are working with across these 36 states. So we are in touch with the community, rural community, hard to reach community. Now, the story they tell us is different from the story that is being told at the government level, that things are working and things are getting better. Let's not forget that when President Buhari came into power, we were asked to be patient. So 2 years, 4 years. Somebody said, oh, 8 years. So we waited for 2 years, 4 years, 8 years. And now this current government is scoring that last administration very low. So according to them, they say that administration failed. The president met a collapsed economy, and that's what he's trying to do. And I think what we are trying to avoid is repeat the same mistake, whereby we are told to be patient. So being patient, what does being patient mean? When we say Nigerians should sacrifice, we should sacrifice. What does sacrifice mean? Does sacrifice at the micro level, how does that also affect sacrifice at the macro level? We do not recall any approval, for instance, for the president to get a presidential jet. We don't have it on record where that approval was sought and it was gotten. But the president got a presidential jet. So we thought that if there are sacrifices, sacrifices should come from bottom, actually from top down, not from bottom. It should come from the leaders. If I say, oh, let's sacrifice, it means that as a leader, in my status as a leader, I would show example. I will look at the number of ministers I'm appointing. I will look at the number of cabinets I have, cabinet members that I have. I will look at the allowances and all of that goes into it. I look at the trips and all of those things that are happening and how do I cut down on it so that Nigerians see visibly that, yes, this president is we actually do not have money. Because the narrative is, you're saying that we do not have enough resources, but on the other hand, your lifestyle, your expenditure is not portraying that. So I think those are some of the controversies that the administration is throwing at us as citizens.
Well, let me just quickly come in here and give you this angle. So we've had former leaders even within the APC, former governor, minister, even presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, former minister Rotimi Amechi, former governor Nasir El-Rufai. Speaking about this administration, yes, they are opposition in that sense, a coalition, but they spoke about this government weaponizing poverty. And for former minister Rotimi Amechi, he talked about removal of subsidy and how much money should be available to government to at least inject into the economy to ensure there's a cushion. So if you're removing something, you're meant to return or at least put it back in some way you get so that you can buffer the effect. So they spoke about weaponizing poverty, and you've talked about the work you do, with equality, ensuring that, the average person gets some sense of governance, of a dividends of democracy in that sense. So do you agree with that statement that this government is weaponizing poverty, or at least that poverty is now widespread under this government?
Yeah, thank you very much. Clearly, I think, let's forget the messenger. The message is correct, extremely correct. Poverty is being weaponized. And being weaponized to the extent that even if you have to take a pack of spaghetti to vote for a candidate, you see people then going ahead to do that. We went to a community here in FCT sometime before the last election. And we said, please do not sell your vote. Let's vote for the right candidate. We're doing mobilization and all that. And the community says that the only time they see politicians is when it's election time. And they make all the promises. And this has been the cycle over the years. And that the only thing they hold on to, that they see and they hold on to, is that wrapper, that salt, and that spaghetti. So would you truly say that we should not take that wrapper, salt, and spaghetti just because of the hope or the promise that these people are going to give to us? Like, okay, if you take them, how do you then vote for your conscience? How do you vote your mind? How do you vote the right candidate? Yes, poverty has been weaponized. ActionAid is an anti-poverty agency, so whatever we do, we take side with the poor. We are very political when it comes to issues of working with the poor, inside with the poor. We are not partisan. We're not concerned about which political party or not, but we're looking at poverty as a weapon. How has poverty fared? Assets, a year ago, it costs about 8,000 naira to make a pot of stew soup, 8,000 plus to make a pot of stew soup, according to the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics. And that figure today is 17,000 something from Nigeria Bureau of Statistics. So if you look at that figure, Minimum wage has been fixed at 70,000. And of that minimum wage, only 20 states are currently implementing the 70,000 minimum wage. But even with the 70,000, and Nigerians spend between 50 and 70, depends on the statistics you are looking at, between 50 and 70% of their average earning on food alone. And food has got the highest level of inflation in the country. So it's further increases the level of poverty. And a poor person, by the time they are poor, you are able to say by the time you tell them this is how to go about it, they are willing to sell their morsel of bread sell their right for a morsel of bread. So they are willing to give up anything just to get a food on their table. As a result of all of this, that is why Nigerians are finding it difficult to come on the streets and hold their government accountable. Let's talk about accountability, flowing from your last conversation. If Nigerians hold their leaders accountable, just like Rotimi was also saying, if Nigerians hold their leaders accountable, then we will be producing the best of leaders that would make sure that power actually belongs to the people. If our elections are right, if the citizens come out and we hold the government accountable, and it has nothing to do with the citizens' ability or non-ability, but because of the level of poverty, they are not able to, instead of spending one day, that's daily bread, I'd rather go for my bricklayer work, I'd rather go for my daily work and get my 10,000 or 5,000 or 20,000 I'll get for that day, rather than coming out on a protest to hold the government accountable. And clearly, that is seen as weaponization of poverty. We have seen cases in different parts of the country where people say, oh, Rankadede, they greet you on all sorts. But because why are they doing that? They rather that you provide some level of succor to them, their family, and all that. Why are people concerned about my person in power? Why are people happy when somebody they know gets appointed into a position? It's because of the benefit. So because of weaponization of poverty, people have not passed the primordial sentiment, so survival sentiment. People have not passed that survival level. If Nigerians have gone beyond survival level, then you'll not be concerned about what the leader would give to you or what the appointed person would
Mr. Memedu,
for you.
Great points you've raised. Of course, the assessment continues, and we're going to be getting as many perspectives as possible. But what we're dealing with is the downside of the neoliberal economic policy, where the inequality gap is widening every other day, and some of these stopgap measures that has been brought by the government quite insufficient to put up a buffer in that sense. But must thank you for your contribution. Andrew Memedu is the country director of ActionAid Nigeria. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so from here we head to what you are saying across the social media and a couple of things. So let's get to what's happened in Akwa Ibom State. Akwa Ibom has been in the news for a lot of reasons, and especially when it had to do with the governor trying to defect. He's going to defect this month, I understand, sometime this month, officially, to perhaps just put in all the finishing touch. But something popped up the other day that had to do with a video of one of his daughters making some allegations, and he responded to that effect. Basically, the video was, the daughter was talking about she's not going to be a sacrifice, raising concern about how her mother died, as well as her brother. But when the governor was asked about this particular video that went viral, this is what he had to say.
We are in political times, and so you expect more of that. My family is intact, you can see everyone. And the event we're talking about happened immediately my wife passed last year. So why is it surfacing now? And why is it on the eve of a second-year anniversary that we're celebrating the milestone that we have achieved? This teaches me that there are detractors around, and so my family is intact. You can see that's Jane herself there. That's my daughter, that's the husband. So we have a good family. The pressure on the kids when they lose a loved one and could be traumatic, and we must know that. All I can appeal to the public is, please, they shouldn't bring back sad memories. It's enough that I've lost my wife, and I pray that they allow her peaceful soul to rest in peace. and don't try to. But I can't be distracted. I remain focused. I'll continue to serve Akwa Ibom people, and I don't wish what happened to me will happen to anyone else.
So that's Governor Eno, and you see the daughter right beside him. So perhaps this can bring closure.
Yeah.
Because again, there's the emotional bit of it.
Yeah,
for the
touched by
family
that particular line when he talked about family should stay off limits when it comes to political conversation.
But just one more video, perhaps to cheer you up. Wife of former President Goodluck Jonathan, that's Patience Jonathan, has earned a Doctor of Philosophy degree in Psychology, Guidance and Counseling from Ignatius Ajuru University of Education in Rivers State. And there you see her jubilating. I think this means a lot to a lot of Nigerians on different levels.
So let's be clear, it's not an honorary doctorate.
Right?
So it's expected that she went to class, attended classes, did a PhD coursework, what do you call it, that defended her thesis, her projects.
A lot of work for PhD.
Yes.
That's what's expected.
3 to 4 years of academic rigor. So Nigerians are reacting. Some are impressed, some are wondering, how did she do this? Given what they perceive to be her inadequacies in terms of her ability to express herself in English.
And I think that is the story here.
So that is the story.
Actually what we are also celebrating with her. I know there are lots of narratives, but you know, this is the same woman, according to a user, that people insulted and called an illiterate. She has now done a PhD. That's the African Circus on X. Grammar was used to discredit her husband, but here she is. So congratulations.
Congratulations.
Dame Patience Jonathan.
So however you take it, she's a graduate.
No,
she has a PhD. She has a PhD. However you take it,
so
whatever,
put a doctor
whatever you think it is, she has a PhD. I'll leave it at that.
That's it.
That's it on the program as well. I'm Jeffrey Ozama. Bye-bye.
I'm Kayode Okikele. Sunrise Daily is next. Don't forget, do not be limited. Goodbye.